everyone, it's Bethany. Welcome back to my channel. In this video, we are going to be creating some more mugs with the Cricut mug press. I'm super excited to show you what I have planned for today's tutorial. So in previous tutorials, we have been using the Cricut Infusible Ink transfer sheets. And in one tutorial, we were working on designs with only one color. And then in the next tutorial, we worked on using the Infusible Ink transfer sheets to create multiple color designs. And that was really fun as well. I'll be sure to link those videos in the description box of this video in case you want to catch up on those videos. So in today's tutorial, we're doing something just a little bit different, and we are going to be using the Cricut Infusible Ink markers. So you can use Infusible Ink markers or pens to draw out designs using your Cricut, and then what we'll do is we will create some mug designs and then use the mug press to create some really pretty mugs. So I've shown you how to use the Cricut Joy, I've shown you how to use the Cricut Maker, and now today I'm going to show you how to use the Cricut Explore Air 2 when creating fun mugs with the Cricut Mug Press. And stay tuned because at the very end I'm going to share my opinion about the Cricut markers and what I think about using them for the mugs. Alright everyone, I can't wait to show you the designs we're going to do today, so let's go ahead and hop into Design Space and get started. All right, let's go ahead and get started. So I am in the home screen of Cricut Design Space, and in that home screen, there is a section for the Cricut Mug Press, or at least there is at the time of recording this tutorial. Within that section, there is a little template called Drawn Mug Design Setup, and that is what we are going to focus our designs on today. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. Now the only two options you need to worry about is whether or not you have the small 12-ounce mug or the large 15-ounce mug. So go ahead and make your selection accordingly. I am going to be doing the small 12-ounce mug, so that is a selection I will make, and then I will click Customize. So this is the template that we are going to be using to design all of our designs for writing with the Cricut Infusible Ink markers or pens. You'll see that it comes with some guides as well. These guides will help you line up your design so that you can center them. So on this right here, you will notice that this will help you center your design on the side of the mug where your handle is on the right. Then in the middle, it will help you center your design if you want it to be right in the center with the handle on the opposite side. And then respectfully on the left side, you'll know how to line up your design if your handle is on the left. Another thing about these guides is that it shows you a barrier where you need to keep your design in. So I'm going to go ahead and keep these on throughout designing. That way I know that my design needs to stay within this rectangle and cannot go past these red dashed lines. Another thing I want to remind you about the template is that you want to make sure you do not do any resizing. Once it's brought into the canvas section, it is already sized perfectly for your mug, so do not do any resizing. So to start out, we are going to come over to images, and I'm going to show you how to find images that are great for using the pens or markers. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to come over to operation type, and I am going to filter the files to draw only. That way, when I go to type in my keyword, when I go to search, it will only show me images that are good for drawing. Again, the drawing images will work well with the Infusible Ink markers and pens. These are also good files to use with the foil tool. So then I will go to the search engine and I am going to type in grow where you are planted, and you will see that it will come up with a file. This is the file I'm going to use, but all the other files that have popped up with that keyword are all draw files. You can tell by hovering over and you will see that it says draw. So do you see in the bottom left-hand corner, it will say draw. Okay, so I will go ahead and select that first one, and then I will insert my image. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a little editing to this file. So what I'm going to do is, first of all, I will go to contour, and I want to remove the words. So I want to just keep the floral design. So to remove parts of the design, you are simply going to go through on this screen here, and you are going to click the areas that you want to remove. You can also go through and click off those areas within this right panel. So it's a little bit easier in the panel because you can just quickly notice which ones have more letters than actual leaves or floral designs. Some of them are a little trickier, so some of these, as you'll note, they will just be lines, so you might want to just be aware of that. So I'll click that off, or you can just do a combination of both. No matter how you edit, as long as you just take away what you need to. Okay, I think I have removed everything that needs to be removed, so I can check that by clicking the X box, and then I will see that that part has been removed. So everything that I clicked on has been erased. So now what I can do is bring my design up here onto my mug template. I can size that up to where I would like it. Looks good, but it's not quite long enough. So now what I want to do is I want to take my design, come over to the layers panel and select duplicate. What I want is I want the floral design to span across the entire bottom of my mug, and it's going to be a full wrap. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hover over here and see how many additional pieces of the floral I need to contour away so that it all fits. I'm actually going to size it down just a little bit, but when sizing, I want to make sure I size the designs at the same time so that they're consistent. Okay, that looks pretty good. So I'll go ahead and take this first one, put it right up here, and then I'll take my second, and I'm thinking that I only, see how I have two overlapping, these two are overlapping, so I want to remove just two. Okay, so I'm gonna bring this down, come back over to contour, and I'm going to remove the left two designs because then it will fit on my mug. So then again, I'm going to go through and just click those designs off, and it will remove them so that they are no longer there. Okay, so I went ahead and did that. I actually did that before the tutorial because quite honestly, that takes quite a long time with these delicate pieces to contour out. So I am left with the 4 pieces that I want to keep. So I actually removed in this file, I removed 2 on the left and I removed 1 on the right. And I found that that worked out really well for the size that I wanted it. And go ahead and edit that however you'd like if you want to recreate this yourself. Okay, so now what I want to do is I want to take my design. I'm going to hold down Command button on my keyboard to select both my designs. And then I'm going to come up to Align, and I'm going to say Align Bottom. That way I know they are all lined up together on the bottom. Then I'm going to go ahead and just group that together. Okay, so this looks really nice so far. What I want to do though is I want to add a little text to the bottom. So now I'm going to show you how to locate good fonts that are good for writing with the pen. So we're going to come over to the text box right here. It's that capital T on the left. And then we are going to come up to the font, and we are going to say filter right up at the top right hand corner, and we are going to filter for writing fonts. What that's going to do is it places a filter on everything that we see here, and then everything that we browse through is going to be a good candidate for writing with the pen or the marker. So I am going to use the font called Telegram, I believe. So let me type in Telegram text. So I'll go ahead and select that. Once I have it selected, I can write out what I would like to say. So I'm going to say fully known, fully loved. And this is inspired by a Christian song that I really, really like. And I think it's just a really, really nice little statement. So I will go ahead and place that down at the bottom. Okay, and then I will size that how I like it. I'm thinking this sizing looks really, really nice. Okay, so I will bring this up, and then I am going to unlock my text, and then I will go ahead and just kind of drag that a little bit so that it spans the entire length of my mug. Okay, I think that's really, really sweet. Okay, so now what I would like to do is I want to color code my designs so that my Cricut machine knows which Infusible Ink marker to use at which time. So it's important to tell your machine what color marker you want to use on what part of your design so it knows when to load that pen or when to prompt you to load that pen. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to select my floral design first, and then I'm going to come up to the operation panel right up here, and there's a little box there. I'm going to click on that box, and then I am actually working with the Infusible Ink markers, so I'm going to locate those in this drop down. So I'm going to open this drop down, I'm going to scroll down to marker, and then I'm going to scroll all the way down to the Infusible Ink section, and it shows you all of the colors available. So I'm going to choose the color that I want to use. I think I want to use the lilac, so I'm going to go find the lilac and click Lilac Infusible Ink, and I will go ahead and select that. Then you'll see that it got a little bit bolder because I am using the markers. Now the difference from what I understand between the markers and the pens are the markers have more of a bold tip and the pens have more of a fine tip. So it gives you a little preview of what that's going to look like. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on my text, and I'm going to now tell my machine what Infusible Ink color to write the text out. So again, this is a writing font. You'll see the style is listed as writing here. So I will go up to that box, and then I will again tell it I am using the marker, and then I will scroll down to the Infusible Ink section. And I'm going to use this gray color. So I'm going to go ahead and select that, and then it will go ahead and color code it accordingly. Okay, so now I'm all set to go. My design is within my boundaries, so that looks really, really great there. And what I want to do is I need to hide these little guides now. So I will go ahead and locate them over in the layers panel and click the I button to hide them. Now the last thing I want to do is I want to make sure that I highlight my entire design, including the template and the designs that I've created, and then I'm going to come down to the bottom of the layers panel and say attach. What this is going to do is it's going to tell my machine that I want everything to be placed and written on my template exactly as it's shown here. So that's very, very important because you want your machine to know where to write out or draw each of the elements that you've created. Now for this tutorial, we will use the Explorer Air 2. You can do this on any cutting machine, but I'm going to use the Explorer Air 2 because that is the last of the machines that I haven't used for the mug press. Again, I have done the mug press with the Cricut Joy and the Maker, so be sure to check out those tutorials if you would like to. I wanted to mention another reason that I'm using one of my bigger machines for this project is because the bigger machines have more options for the Infusible Ink colors at the time of this recording, and I will show you the pack of Infusible Ink markers that I am using. So now I'll say make it, and this will show a preview of my project. Now everything is placed exactly where I would like it, showing me that my Cricut is going to draw out all of my elements exactly how I put them because I attached it. And one important thing you really want to do here is you want to mirror your image. So be sure you're mirroring your image because we are working with Infusible Ink. It will look backwards, and that's exactly what you want at this point. Then we'll go ahead and click continue. Okay, so from here I am going to browse all materials. I will scroll down to the paper section, and I am going to use the setting laser copy paper. I'll go ahead and select that and say done. And then down here it will tell me I'm going to load my lilac color in first into clamp A. Of course my fine point blade is in clamp B. And then my screen will prompt me when it's time to load in my next color. Okay, so I am going to place laser copy paper onto my mat, and I will be sure to link the laser copy paper that I purchased for this in the description box below. So I will place that onto my mat, and then I will go ahead and select the color that is going to be loaded first. So I'm using this pack of Infusible Ink markers. This is their 30 pack set, and I will locate the lilac color, which is right here, and then open it up. I like to keep my cap right on the tip because then I won't lose it. And then I'm going to load that in clamp A until I hear a click, close the clamp, and then of course my blade is already in clamp B. Then I can load my machine and press go. Okay, so now it's prompting me to go ahead and load my next color. So I'm going to take out my lilac, and then I'm going to locate the gray color and place that into clamp A. So now that the marker is done, it automatically will switch over to clamp B where the blade is located, and it will cut out the perimeter of our template. Okay, so it's all done. Don't forget to take your marker out because you don't want to dry out. And then we can unload our machine. And then to remove our design, what we're going to do is flip the mat over and then peel the mat away from the laser copy paper. Just like that. That will help the laser copy paper stay nice and intact. So from here, what you can do is just remove that perimeter that has been cut to free the template from the paper. Okay, there we go. And we have our design all set to go. Okay, so now what we're going to do is take our mug, and we are going to take a lint roller and make sure there is no lint present on the mug. Now, I just took these mugs out of the packaging that they were packaged in. Even though they are fresh from the box, I still will do this. So you want to make sure that you do not skip this step, even if your mugs are brand new and haven't been out of the box yet. Okay, now that that is done, what we're going to do is we are going to take our sheet, our little template that was cut out with our marker right on here, and we are going to place it so that the marker side goes onto the mug. So what I like to do is have my handle facing towards me, and then I like to wrap right around and then make sure that everything lines up and there's even spacing from this side and this side to the handle, if that makes sense. So I just want to make sure everything is nice and even, and keeping it on the table also helps make sure that the design stays straight. Okay, so unlike the Infusible Ink transfer sheets, we are using laser copy paper, and laser copy paper does not have that sticky backing, of course, that the transfer sheets do. So we need to use some heat-resistant tape in order to secure our design to our mug. So I'm just going to take one piece of tape, okay, and then I'm going to place my piece of tape underneath that handle just to attach each side of those templates together, or each side of the template together. So where they meet, I'll place a piece of tape, and that's right under the handle. Okay, and then to ensure that it doesn't move up or down when placed into the press, what I'm going to do is take another piece of tape, and I will just place one piece of tape along the top. So I'll do one right there, and it's good to go. Okay, now another thing that is different than working with the Infusible Ink transfer sheets is this time we need to use 3 layers of butcher paper, and we need to place those on top of our design. So the reason we need to do that is because the Infusible Ink will bleed when using the pens and the markers. So you want to make sure that you place a barrier between your mug and your mug press. So you're protecting your press. You do not want to have ink left over in your press, because then it ruins your press, and then the next time you go to put a separate mug in, the additional ink that was accidentally left in there will transfer to another mug. So it's very, very important that when you are using the markers and the pens, that you take 3 layers of butcher paper. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, you just wrap those around your design so that it covers your design. Now I still need to trim this down just a little bit so it fits. So I will just mark where that needs to be trimmed. I am using the butcher paper that comes with the Infusible Ink transfer sheets. So I just trimmed mine down to size. So just like that, we are good to go. So again, I'm going to repeat just because it's important. 3 layers, 1, 2, 3 of that butcher paper are going to go on top of your design. Okay, so I'm just going to wrap that just like I would wrap my design, and I want to make sure that it covers all of the ink or anywhere that I have seen drawing. Okay, so again, we are going to take some heat resistant tape. It's really important that you use heat resistant tape because it's going into a hot press. And then I'm going to place my tape right here to make sure my butcher paper stays put. Okay. And that looks really, really good. I'll go ahead and trim this on the top really quickly so it's nice and to size. Okay, so I have my design with my Infusible Ink markers on my mug. I also have my 3 layers of butcher paper. My mug press has preheated and it's green, so what I will do is place this at an angle, and when you do it at an angle, it helps so that it does not snag your butcher paper or your design. So I'll place it at an angle all the way down, and then I'm going to start closing my press and making sure that that mint area, which is the inside of the press, covers all of my design. Okay, and once it's down, it will beep, then it will start the countdown. It takes about 5 to 6 minutes, and it will go ahead and fully light up with the 5 lights, plus it will beep when it is ready to be removed from the press. Okay, so it has beeped, so I will go ahead, open up my press, and then I will pull out my mug by the handle only. Now it's going to be very hot, so then I'm going to place it onto my heat mat and let it cool, and then once it is cool, I will go ahead and peel off the butcher paper and the design to show you how it turned out. Okay, so this has fully cooled. It's cool to the touch. So I am going to go ahead and just take off my butcher paper and my laser copy paper. Just remove all of the layers and reveal my design. Okay, there is our first one. How cute! I really like the color combination together. I think it's really relaxing and pretty. So that was that lilac color, and that was that gray. It almost looks like a little bit of a hunter green, but luckily those are really nice colors together. So I really like how that turned out. So let's also check out our butcher paper. So we have our piece of laser copy paper that we did our marker on, and then we have our 3 layers of butcher paper. So here is our first layer. You can see that it had transferred over to the first layer. The second layer has a little bit more of a faint transfer, but it's still present. And then that third layer, you do still see very faintly, but there is some transfer. So that is why you really want to make sure you do the 3 layers of butcher paper, because it's going to protect the inside of your press from getting ink on it. So very, very important. So now, because there is even the slightest on this third, but because you can see some ink that's transferred, all of the butcher paper cannot be reused, and it is now going to be thrown away. Okay, for our next mug, we are using the exact same template that I showed you how to locate for our first mug, and at the same size. So again, a 12-ounce mug. And in the first mug, I was showing you how to go into images and filter for images that are draw only. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how you can still use the pen for regular cut files if you find something you really, really like and it's not available in the drawn version. So I'm going to go over to images, and I am going to type in floral llama. And I really like this floral llama right here. It's llama with a flower crown. I think she's so cute. So really quickly, I'm going to click on this eye, and I'm going to say view image sets. And that will bring up the collection of images that original llama image is within. So I'm just going to browse through here and just make sure that there isn't a drawn version of that llama, and I can see that there is not. They are all cut files. So I'm going to go ahead and select the cut file and say insert image. Okay, so here is our cute little llama. I think she's really, really sweet. So this actually, if you look up in the operation, is a cut file. So this is the type of file that you would use when you're using adhesive vinyl or iron-on or Infusible Ink sheets. But this is not a file that you would use when using pens. However, you still can, and I'll show you how we will approach this today, because You may come across images that you really like that are only cut files, and there's still something you can do and ways that you can create with it if you really would like to. So that's what I want to show you right now. So I'm going to make this really big for a second, and I am going to come up to the operation type, and I am going to tell it I want to use a pen or marker to draw this out. So I will go ahead and come down to the draw category and select pen. Now you can see that it is going to draw a double line, so it's not a nice single line, but I'm going to show you what we will do once this is all drawn out to make it look really nice. So what I'm going to do is size my llama for my design, or for my mug, and I'm actually going to use those guides here. So I'm actually going to put the llama only on the right side where the handle is on the right. So I'm going to make my llama just about that big, and I think that's really, really cute. Okay, so I'm going to then take my llama, hold down the command button on my keyboard, and then take my template, and I am going to say align, and I'm going to say center vertically just to make sure that she is centered and has the same amount of space at the top and at the bottom. Okay, so all is looking good now. So now I want to add some text. So I'm going to come over to text. I'm going to open up the font area, and then again I'm going to make sure that filter for writing is still on that I placed in the first mug. So I have the writing filter still on, it's highlighted. So now I can go ahead and browse through for a font that I would like to use for this next mug. So I think I'm going to use the font called Be Mine. It's a really nice font, so I'm going to select that, and then I'm going to write out Mama Llama. Okay, so we really like the books Llama Llama Red Pajama, and we love all the little variations of that book, so I thought it'd be really fun to do a Mama Llama coffee mug. So what I'm going to do next is I am actually going to split these words apart. So what I'll do is I will put my cursor in between the words and just select return. And then I'm going to come up to advanced and say ungroup to lines. And then that ungroups the top line from the bottom line. So that's a little cheat if you really want to separate your words really quickly from one another. Then I'm going to go ahead and size them down. I'm going to select them both and size them together so that they are consistently the same size. Then I can go ahead and select my first one. I'm going to rotate it, and then I am going to do a little curving. So I'm going to come up to this curve button, and I am going to curve to the right just to have my letters take on the little curve of the side of the llama. I think that will look really nice. And then I can, of course, rotate that a little bit more just to make sure that that fits really nicely visually. Okay, I really like how that looks. So I'm going to do the same for the llama word. So I'm going to rotate that this way, bring it up, but I'm going to curve in the opposite direction. So I'll come up to curve, and I will curve to the left. And I think that looks really, really cute. I might bring it down just a little bit, but I really like how that looks. Okay, so this is all ready to go. So now, design-wise, I'm ready to go, but I need to let my Cricut know what markers I'm going to use. So I'm actually just going to use one marker for this design. I want everything to be the same color. So I'm going to select my llama, and then I'm going to come up again to my little color box and select that. Again, I'm using the markers, so I'm going to select the markers from this drop down, and then I'm going to scroll all the way down to bubblegum, and that's the Infusible Ink color that I'm going to use. So I'll select that, and then I will select my words, and I will do the exact same thing. Again, telling it I'm going to use the marker, scroll all the way down to the color I would like in Infusible Ink, and select. Then I'll do the last little word, doing the exact same method. Okay, so now we are all set. Now remember, we need to hide the guides. Okay, so I'm going to come over to my layers panel and click that eye to hide the little mug guides. And then of course, like last time, we're going to select our entire design, both the template and our draw files, and we are going to say attach. Okay, again, we're using the Explorer 2 for this project. We're going to say make it, and then on this map preview screen, we are going to mirror our image. Then we'll say continue, and just like last time, we will make the selection for laser copy paper. So going all the way down to paper, I should probably put this in my favorites now. So I will click laser copy paper, say done, and then it will tell me to load the bubblegum infusible ink marker into clamp A. Of course, again, in clamp B, it's our fine point blade, and we will go ahead and get this drawn and cut. Okay, to save material, even though I bought this laser copy paper in what seems like a 1 million page pack, I am going to go ahead and just flip this around so that I can just save some material, because since I know that I can get another 12-ounce template on this sheet. So again, placing my laser copy paper right on my light grip blue mat. I have my bubble gum pink infusible ink marker. I will load that into clamp A until I hear the click, and then close the clamp and load my mat and allow that to draw and cut. Okay, so this is all done. I will go ahead and put the cap back on my marker to make sure that does not dry out. And then I will remove my template from the mat again by flipping that upside down and peeling that mat away from my paper. Okay, so here it is, and even though we converted this from a cut file to a draw file and it had double lines in design space, because we used the marker that has such a thick tip, you cannot see the double line. It actually just made it really, really bold, so it did a really nice job. Now, if you were using the pen that has a finer tip, you would probably see a double line, and what you could do is you could go in with your pen and you could just color in all those areas if you had a gap between those two lines. But I was anticipating having to do that with the marker, but it did such a good job. However, what I do want to do is I want to take my marker and color in a couple places. Now, they do make freehand infusible ink markers, but I'm just going to go ahead and use this marker here, and I am going to take my marker and just color in a couple areas that I need to. So right there at the middle of that flower. And then I'm also going to color in the nose. So I'm just going to lightly color in her cute little nose so that it is more of a solid. So this is a fun way to still be able to use cut files as drawn files if you would like to. And then you can just add a little bit of additional color for coloring with the markers. Okay, so I have my little nose colored in there. So I think that looks really, really cute, and I think she is all ready to be pressed on a mug. Okay, so again, I'm going to make sure I lint roll my mug. Okay, easy peasy. Then I will take my design and I will wrap it around my mug, making sure that the ends line up and they are even surrounding my handle, which they are, and then I will place a piece of tape right under the handle to make sure those ends are connected. Okay, and then again, just to make sure that it doesn't shift at all, I will put one piece of tape right on the lip, just like that. Okay, now as a reminder, we are using the Infusible Ink markers, so when working with the markers or the pens, you do need 3 pieces of butcher paper to then cover your design. So I have my 3 layers of butcher paper that I'm going to place on top of my design. And then again, I will attach those 3 layers of butcher paper with some heat resistant tape. Okay, it's all set to go. I have my design, plus I have my 3 layers of butcher paper, and I will place that into my press and press it down, making sure my design is completely covered, and get started. Okay, so I took this out of the press when it beeped and I let it cool for quite a while, and now I can go ahead and peel away the layers because it is all transferred. Oh, this is really cute. And the pen actually has some variation in it that actually offers some visual depth in my opinion, so that was really lucky. Okay, oh my goodness, I love how that looks. That is so cute. So the outline is a little bit darker, and then the inside has a little bit more of a faint pink, and I don't know that that was really intentional, but it looks really cool and it actually adds to the look of it. And then of course I added some of the ink with the pens when I colored it into the nose, so that looks super cute as well. That looks so nice. So again, we have our sheet that we had written on, so that was our laser copy paper, and then it bled through at least 2 of the sheets of butcher paper. So again, very important that those butcher paper sheets are protecting your machine. For this final mug, we are back on the home screen of Cricut Design Space, and again, I'm in that little area that says New Cricut Mug Press, and this again has the templates as well as some pre-made designs. So I want to go ahead and say View All because I saw something earlier that was really inspiring and I want to give it a try. So I love this dotted heart mug. I'm going to go ahead and click on that, and then it's going to, instead of having our machine do all of these little dots, we are going to freehand those with the Infusible Ink markers. So I'm going to go ahead and click Customize because I want to show you something really quickly. So when the template comes up, you will see that there is a heart right here. Now, if you wanted to do something different than a heart, you could, of course, hide this and then add a different shape in there. So know that you can customize this if you don't want to do the heart, but I thought the heart would be really, really sweet. So this is all set to go. So now all we have to do is we have to say make it. Again, it's already attached, so the Cricut knows that we want the heart to be cut out exactly where it is located. And I'm going to go ahead and just really quickly make this heart pink just because it'll be easier for us to see on the next screen. So I'll go ahead and say make it. And then you will notice that we have our little template here with our little cutout heart. So that looks great. Now, usually I've been telling you to mirror this, but I actually want my heart to be on the right hand side of my mug and it's on the left here, so technically it's mirrored for my purposes. And this is super easy. No pens are needed. We'll simply browse all material just like the last time, go down to paper and say laser copy paper. Okay, say done, and we'll load a fresh sheet of paper in and get this all cut out. Okay, so that cut out, so I'll go ahead and remove that from my mat. Now I did get a little close on that side for my template, but that's okay because I actually don't need that piece at all, so that's just fine. So now what I'm going to do is there is that little heart cut out right on this side, so I'll just go ahead and lightly remove that, and it gives us a little template for where we are going to base our little freehand dots around. Okay, so as you can see, there's the little template with the heart cut out. Okay, so I just want to pick the 2 colors that I want to use, and I decided that I want to do the rose color and then I want to do the bubblegum color. So now what I can do, again, there are freehand markers for Infusible Ink that you can use, but I'm just going to use the markers that I already have. So I'm going to go ahead and just start placing my dots around the perimeter of my heart. Okay, so I think I'm good with that for my first layer. I might add a couple just down there. And then I am going to go back through and add some additional dots with my second color. Okay, so I have a mixture of both colors, and so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a little bit more lightly around the perimeter. Okay, and then really quickly, I am not going to add a lot, but I just want to make sure I have a little bit of that other color, so I'll just add a few here or there with the other color around the perimeter. Okay, so I think I am happy with that. There's really no right or wrong way to do it. In fact, this was actually really difficult for me because I'm a little bit more of a perfectionist, so it's kind of hard for me to have to do something super random and sporadic, but it was actually really relaxing and fun at the same time. Okay, just adding a couple more hearts closer to the actual cutout, just to make sure there really isn't any gap between that cutout. I was noticing I had a little bit of a white space, so I wanted to make sure that that was covered, and I think that that is going to be my final look now. Okay, so we're going to start our final mug. What I did not realize is that this template that is used for this little dotted heart is actually for the bigger mug. So I went to get it ready for my 12-ounce mug and it was too tall. So know that. So I did not note that when I was creating it, but luckily I have a Cricut 15-ounce mug all ready to go. So again, I'm going to go ahead and make sure that there is no lint on the surface of my mug. I know I'm repeating myself here, but I just want to make sure you know all of the steps, and also to show you that I did not skip any steps when creating these mugs. Okay, so now the handle's faced towards me, and then I have my wrap, and I can wrap that around the mug. Perfect. Making sure that there is even spacing. And the spacing, again, that I'm talking about is making sure that there is even spacing from the handle to this side of the template and the handle to this side of the template. I know that's white on white, so a little bit difficult to see, but when you're doing it yourself, it will make so much sense. Okay, then grabbing one piece of the heat-resistant tape, which I have off to the side, and then I can go ahead and place that right there to connect the two. And then again, I will place another piece right up top. And I just have some little pieces of heat-resistant tape on my table so that I have an easier time getting it off of my tape dispenser there. Okay, so it is all set to go. You'll see now why I didn't have to mirror that design in Design Space, because it was all ready to go for a right-handed mug as is. Okay, again, we want to make sure that we are using 3 layers of butcher paper. So I have those all ready to go, and I will wrap my mug. Okay, so I have my 3 layers of butcher paper to cover my design and act as a barrier between my design and my mug press. So it's all on there. I'll go ahead and take some heat resistant tape and make sure it is secure on the mug. Okay, we are all set. Again, I'm going to place it into the press at an angle so it doesn't snag, and that can be quite a bit of a tight fit with the 15-ounce mug, but it does go in there. Just take your time and be gentle. And then I'm going to make sure that it's all covered, and then it takes a little bit more pressure, I'm noticing, for the bigger mug, so just know that. Okay, there we go. It's all started. Okay, it's worth mentioning again, there it goes, it's all ready to go, and it's worth mentioning again that I really love the simplicity of the mug press. You literally turn it on and you put your mug in when it's preheated, and then it does all of the temperature and the countdown for you. I really love that. So again, removing it by the handle, placing it right on my heat protective mat or heat resistant mat or heat mat, and then we are going to go ahead and let that cool, and then once it's cool, we will reveal the design. Okay, the final mug is done, so now we can go ahead, and since it's cooled, we can take off our butcher paper and our laser copy paper. I am so excited to see this one. Cute! That is so neat. I love how that turned out. And the colors that I chose So that was the bubble gum. Let me find them. That was the bubble gum and it was the rose. So they are very, very close to one another in tones, and I really did that purposefully because I wanted, if when you look close, I wanted to see a variation, but I didn't want it to be super different from one another. Now you can choose whatever colors you'd like, but that is how I wanted mine to look. But that turned out really cute. That was actually really easy to do, even though I was a little bit stressed out about how I was going to do that perfectly because sometimes when I have to be random, it is just hard for me for some reason. I don't know if that's for everybody, but for me, it's really hard. Okay, so that is how this one turned out. I think that turned out really, really cute. Again, this is the 15 ounce or the larger of the two sizes that Cricut offers, and I think I really love this. Okay, so here were the final 3 mugs that were created today. I really love how they turned out. It was really fun. I'll be honest and admit that I think between the transfer sheets and the pens or markers, I think I have a little bit more fun using the transfer sheets. I think they offer a little bit more of a wow factor, and I think they are just a little bit more fun to use. However, I do think that it's nice to know another technique for creating some fun mugs. So it's nice to know how to use the pens to create some really fun drawings things. So personally for me, I think going forward, I'll probably end up doing a lot more Infusible Ink mugs with the transfer sheets just because I really enjoyed that just a tad bit more. But I really think that the Infusible Ink markers and pens are definitely going to come in handy when creating children's artwork on mugs. So that will be really, really fun. And knowing how to use the pen and knowing the process for using the pens and markers is definitely going to make that very doable and very fun. So we'll definitely have to try that out in the future. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial today. Let me know if you were inspired to try creating some mugs with your mug press using the markers or the pens. Again, those are the Infusible Ink markers and pens. And also let me know if you had a favorite mug. I really love this Mama Llama mug. It's really, really cute. And of course, this dot heart was just so fun to create, so easy. And I'm actually inspired to do this again and try out some other shapes in the middle because I think that will be really fun. Plus, experimenting with some other colors will be fun as well. All right, everyone, be sure to give this a thumbs up if you found this helpful, and I will see you in the next video.